Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kane. I hope that you are having a great day. I was supposed to be sitting here with Donovan. I sent him a link. I didn't hear from him, so maybe he'll show up. We'll see. But nevertheless, you got me. Anyway, I should say that the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also to my wonderful moderators, and I see all of you, well, most of you here anyway, for all that you do in holding down the comment section. I could not and would not do this without you. Today, we're going to be talking about ICE agents working security at airports until Democrats agree to fund the Department of Homeland Security. So this is going to be an interesting conversation, I do believe, because, especially all the things that's going on in the country. A lot of people are concerned about this. They're like, wait a minute now. What do you mean ICE agents are going to be, now working at the airport? So we're going to hear from Tom Homan. He did a interview with Donna Bash, rather, on CNN. And he's, just giving a kind of conversation about what's going on and why they are doing it. So we'll get into that in just a moment. Of course, I just got one promo here for you today. I'll do the other ones as we go up the road. But of course, that pretty soon, not because I keep thinking it's April already, but it's March. But in May 23rd to be exact, maybe I'll slow down a little bit. Our brother Phil, myself, sister Vicky will be in Columbus, Ohio at the Black Expo. We were there last year. They invited us out again. So if you want your tickets, go to ohioblackexpo.com, ohioblackexpo.com, where it would be our pleasure to have a wonderful conversation with you live and in living color. So let's see who is on here. While we give it another moment for everybody to come on. One who cares, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brother Don, my triple OG moderator. Sister Shirley, what's going on with you? Monet in the building. Clipper, what's going on? Arneva, how are you? Derek, hope you're having a great day. Maureen, what's going on with you? Jersey, Rick, Renz, a slappy jaw, says one love always. And Kelly, how you doing? Long time to see. Hope you're doing well. D-Mac, what's going on with you? JJ Mars in the building. King Noble. Who else? Oh, and Derek says, no flying for me. I won't play their game. Yeah. A lot of people ain't going to be able to afford to fly because, with what's going on in the Middle East, jet fuel is short. In fact, United Airlines is like, we're going to have to cancel some flights and, a whole host of other things because we ain't got it. So it's going to get very, very interesting. So if you got to go somewhere, get your tickets right now. Before the tickets go up, because they will go up. Jamarcus, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And thank you so much, Avengers Ancestors. I love and appreciate you for that. See, I see that, right? I don't know what happened with the other ones, but I thank you for that. Getting started early on. Okay, let's go ahead and get started for the sake of time. D-Max says they not paying TSA. Yeah, okay. So anyway, as you guys may or may not know, there is a partial government shutdown, okay? Now, of course, you guys know what shutdowns, that usually means that the government will shut down either totally or partially, depending on what it is, right? So it's due to funding. So Congress has to agree to fund the government for whatever department it may be. So if it's a full shutdown, that usually means like all of the government functions except for the Congress people, right? They're going to get their checks. But everybody else working in Washington, Congress, or the government, rather, right? They may not get their checks, and they some of them still have to work, whether they get paid or not. Some of them are what they called furloughed or laid off, and until further notice. And again, some of them have to come whether you getting paid or not. It is your duty to come and work for free. Essentially, you'll get paid on the back end type thing. But with this one, now y'all know we had one not too long ago. Okay, now this one took place, I think it was February or something like that. Where it's called a partial shutdown, in that now, and this is the second time, rather, TSA has not gotten a paycheck. They had to wait anyway. So this particular time, TSA is not being paid. Y'all know TSA, they work at the airport security to be exact. They pat you down, pat your bonnet and see what you got in there and make sure you ain't got no kabooms or, some shanks or all the other stuff you ain't supposed to have, liquid, you name it. They just make sure people are able to get onto the aircrafts and nothing funky go on. Okay. So again, they're not getting paid. Now, of course, you probably heard even with the last time where a lot of TSA agents was like, get somebody else to work for free. I'm not showing up, or I'm just gonna quit and go find another job. Now it was at I can't remember, it was some Republican State of the Union not too long ago, where a black TSA agent, he was like, listen, this is the last shutdown. I'm doing DoorDash and all of that because y'all not paying me. And I got a child in school and a whole host of other things. So a lot of those agents are like, listen, I can't work for free. In fact, they said in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, their airport, that some agents are sleeping in their cars because they can't afford the gas. I don't know where you live, really anywhere in America now. Gas is here. It's in Texas, right? It's in the $4 range. And traditionally, it's like at the low twos, right? But now it's going up. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier in Los Angeles, and they said that gas, depending on where you are, $8, $9 a gallon. And this is earlier on, of course, what's going on in the Middle East. If you haven't heard, in the Middle East, the United States and Israel have jumped it off with Iran. And Iran is like, okay, I'll be your huckleberry. Now the United States and Israel thought, hey, we'll just kaboom, and Iran will get in line and we'll be able to run roughshod and do whatever we want. But Iran was like, no, that's not how it's working. Yeah, we know you took out our supreme leader and, a whole lot of other leadership and stuff, but we're going to keep going because their minister of foreign affairs, he was more or less like, we knew this was going to happen. We've been planning since 2003. We knew that the United States would come after us due to what happened, with Saddam Hussein and all that. So they said, we've been paying attention and we've been preparing. So in a sense, they're basically like, listen, we would rather take all of this down. When I say all of this, I mean the United States, Israel, and all the proxies and this, that, and the other, even ourselves, right? Before we bend the knee to the United States and Israel. And so from that, you have Trump, who's been on, he's like the king of tweets. So anyway, he's been on his social media platform, True Social, and all over, basically declaring that the war is over, that they won. And then on one hand, he's talking about, oh, Iran better open up the Strait of Hormuz. And if you don't, you do A, B, C, and D. Now, the Strait of Hormuz is basically a canal, right? And 20% of the world's oil goes through there and some other things. But since it's close to Iran, they're like, we controlling this, right? And so if you come through here and you come through here without any permission, battleship, Star Galactic, whatever that game is, right? Remember that game we used to play back in the 70s, 80s, a battleship game, kaboom, right? So earlier on, Trump was like different countries stuff. Yeah, go ahead, you cool. It, we got you. And Iran says, no, you don't, kaboom, right? So some of those ships, not laughing because, they shouldn't have listened to Trump, but some of those ships had to find out the hard way that, Iran is about their life. So they said, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 3,000, maybe 300, 3,000. Numbers are kind of wonky, but it's a lot of ships that just stuck because they cannot pass. So they're just sitting there in the ocean, right? Because they cannot go through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, there's been some other countries who basically made a deal with Iran and said, hey, let's negotiate because we need to get through there. And it's like, okay, bet this is what you got to do. Woo, 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 right? So they letting them through. Anyway, so things are kind of funky here, right? So that's why you see gas and everything going up. Okay, let's get back to TSA because that's where I really want to talk about. So nevertheless, there are people quitting. They cannot afford it. Okay, can't afford gas and a whole host of other things. And listen, if you went to the grocery store, the prices at the grocery store are high. Like the milk I usually buy is about $3.29, something like that. It's $4.29. That was maybe 2 weeks ago when I bought it. I'm like, what the hell? So $1 more for the milk I usually buy. Okay. So nevertheless, there's a lot of people quitting at these airports. And so the Trump administration, via that of Tom Homan, who is the border czar, and in a sense, he's taken over the ICE operations, because if you guys remember, hey, my sister's in Paris, bonjour. So if you guys remember back in Minneapolis, Minnesota and all that, all those ICE raises going on, and it was just, crunk and disorderly type of thing. And so Greg Bonvino, I think that's his name, Bovino. Yeah. So anyway, he was over ICE and he went back to California. He's, their border patrol something. He's now quitting. So Tom Homan replaced him because he had a lot going on where, people were getting unalived and just a lot going on. So Tom Homan, who also worked under Obama, He went and took over the ICE operations. And guess what? You don't hardly hear nothing anymore. Now, remember this, okay? You don't hardly hear anything anymore about all these ICE raids that were really egregious. And I'm glad that they've calmed down, okay? But I'm going to show you this video of Tom Homan having a conversation with Dana Bash in regards to why ICE agents are now going to, work at these airports. Here we go.
ICE agents going to move into American airports starting Monday?
Yes. And I'm currently working on the plan now of execution, working with the director of ICE and the administrator at TSA, the acting administrator. So we'll put together a plan today and we'll execute tomorrow.
With respect, if you're doing this in 24 hours, how well thought out could it possibly be?
Again, ICE has been at airports across the country for a long time. It's just expanding those things. Look, how much of a plan does it mean to guard an exit to make sure no one comes through that exit?
Are ICE agents even remotely trained to handle security at airports?
ICE agents receive a high level of training. And, the ICE agents are assigned at many airports across the country already. They do a lot of criminal investigation on smuggling at airports. But, certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit, makes people don't go through those exits, entering the airport through the exits. And that stuff like that relieves that TSA officer to go to screening and to reduce those lines. I don't see an ICE agent looking at an X-ray machine because they're not trained in that.
What you're saying is when you move ICE into airports, they are going to be just around the exits and the exteriors. They're not going to be helping people get through the lines and screening people's bags.
Those discussions are going on now. I'm not expert at TSA, so that's why I'm talking to the TSA administrator and the ICE director, find out where we can fit in.
Will ICE officers also be doing immigration enforcement while they are at the airports?
We do immigration enforcement at the airports all the time, so is that going to change? It's not going to change.
Okay. So again, that was Tom Homan, who was the border czar. Again, he worked under the Obama administration. And to this day, I believe that Obama still has the title of deporter in chief. So just kind of putting that out there. But basically, he's like, yeah, ICE is going to go help TSA, as you guys know and may have heard, all over the United States, depending on what airport you go to and what time you go. The lines are super long and, people are showing up hours and hours ahead of time. Some people have talked about they've missed their flight, even though they showed up 3 and 4 hours ahead of time. So it's a lot due to TSA. Now, to his point, we're going to send ICE there because, we don't have enough people there. And, when you don't have enough people at these airports, then, you have long lines. And then, fatigue might set in and some of these TSA agents might miss some things, right? They might overlook something that they don't need to be overlooking, right? Because we don't want to be on no airplanes and things are overlooked. And so he's not really clear as to what they're going to be doing exactly, right? Because he says that's kind of for TSA and them to figure out. But yeah, they will be there. He says they probably won't be looking at X-ray machines, as you're going through there and all that. But they will be doing something. And then her last question was basically, so are they going to be, doing immigration enforcement? And he's like, well, we always do that, right? Now, some people may not know that there is immigration things going on at airports all the time, especially if you are going in or out of the country. That's immigration, right? Normally say, especially if you're going somewhere else, but over here, I'm sure they ask the same people, the same questions. What you doing over here? How long you gonna be here? Who you staying with? And all this other stuff, like what's your purpose type thing. So that's not unusual. Now, of course, a lot of people are freaking out because they're like, well, are they gonna be doing ICE raids and things like that at the airport? And they might be. But the other thing is the reason, and I probably should have gotten to that a little bit earlier, that the partial shutdown is going on because the Democrats are refusing to agree with the Republicans in regards to funding TSA, because it's actually not just TSA, but the Department of Homeland Security. And in this part of it, TSA is the one that's being affected. So ICE is already getting paid, but TSA is not. And so what they're saying is we won't come to the table due to false detainments, aggressive raids, lack of transparency, not enough accountability. So they're basically saying, hey, y'all won't tell us what's really going on. You guys might have seen different Democrats trying to run up into some of these detention facilities like that of LaMonica McIvers and the mayor of New Jersey, where LaMonica McIvers caught a charge and she looking at 17 years, a federal charge for allegedly putting her hands on a federal agent as she was trying to bust up into an ICE facility, right? And so she's like, oh, Trump is doing this to me, this, that, the other. So they are saying, well, as Congress members, we're allowed, we should be able to go into these things, but y'all are not letting us do that. So with that, we're not going to fund the government. Now, what they want is for ICE agents to serve warrants before entering, ICE to, clearly identify themselves, no mask and that kind of stuff. They want body cams and they want restrictions on arrest locations. So basically, they don't want people to be ICE agents to go into schools, churches, hospitals, stuff like that, because for a while they were doing all of that, schools and things like that, because what happens is a lot of these immigrants, whether they're, they're supposed to be going after illegal immigrants, right? But a lot of them won't go to school. They won't seek help at hospitals. They won't go to work and things like that. And so this is what the Democrats are saying. We want you all to stay away from those places so that they can, I guess, enjoy their quality of life. Now, you also might remember
ICE agents going to move into America.
I didn't mean to put that up there. Oops. You might remember Karen Bass there in Los Angeles. She issued the Angelino cards, right? She issued Angelino cards to immigrants who were there illegally because they were afraid to go outside. I might remember in June, it got really hot and popping in Los Angeles where the ICE raids were just, it was really bad in the sense they're all over. So Karen Bass was like, well, we're going to help them out. We're going to give them some money on this Angelino card that's, given by private donors because they're afraid to go outside. And so we'll help them with a little bit of money so they could take care of themselves. And, okay. So these are the reforms that the Democrats are looking for. And until then, the Republicans are like, nah, we want it all funded. We're not going to change anything that we're doing. Okay. Now, remember I said earlier, what happened to the ICE raids? Have y'all heard or seen anything about these ICE raids at all? I mean, I'm not saying they're not going on, but remember, for a while, it was just all over the news. Everywhere you look, ICE raids. They get, snatching up people's mamas and daddies and bald-headed grannies. It was just everywhere. Now you don't hear nothing. I don't know, maybe because I don't watch the news like that, but you could not escape it, whether it was on social media, whether it was on the regular news, you just could not escape it. So I was thinking this, right? I asked my daughter this. I said, okay, if the ICE raids have calmed down, I guess they calmed down, then why won't the Democrats just go ahead and do the dance so that the TSA agents could get paid? Now, the Democrats are also saying, okay, this is what we will do to the Republicans. If you make TSA and ICE different, even though they're in the Department of Homeland Security, but if you make them different, we'll do the deal, because what they want to do is isolate ICE so that they can have some leverage and say, okay, y'all need to do all of these reforms. Otherwise, we're not going to do anything. And so to this point, TSA agents aren't getting paid. And the American in general, if you're traveling or anything like that, especially in the airways, you're going to get screwed. You're going to have to spend a lot of time you probably don't already have waiting in line. So I asked this last question before I get into the comment section. I asked Google, I said, when is the last time the Democrat Party shut down the government specifically for Black Americans? Do you know what it told me? It said the last time the Democrats, now this is kind of tricky too, but last time the Democrats shut down the government specifically for Black Americans was 1879, when they were trying to disenfranchise Black Americans politically, because we were very active in politics, even though, we were just recently freed off of the plantations and stuff. We were, active. And so the Democrat Party were trying to hinder that of Black Americans, and they were successful, right? They took a lot of our rights and things away, but that's the last time they, shut down the government for us, against us. Right now, I should say there's a caveat here. Of course, there was what they call the Southern Switch. When the Civil Rights Movement came into play, the Democrat Party, as it was, a lot of them was like, screw that, because remember, did not like Black people at this particular party. None of them do. Okay, I'm to give you kind of a history lesson. So they didn't like Black folks did not want Black Americans to have any rights. So those particular Democrats jumped ship, and then they went in, infiltrated, in a sense, the Republican Party. And that's kind of how you got the Southern switch. So it's not like the Democrats was like, okay, we're no longer racist. They're all gone now. We love Black people. No, just some of them defected into the Republican Party. Because y'all remember, in a sense, we traditionally Black Americans were Republican, and then we switched over due to some things throughout history. So that's what happened with the Democratic Party. But yeah, I'm gonna get into the comment section and just basically, yeah, Democrats will not go do the dance with the Republicans. And listen, I'm not saying I agree with all the ICE things that were taking place, but we know that ICE is important because ICE has been around since 2003. It came out of a Homeland Security bill of 2002, of course, due to what happened with 9/11 and all of that. So that's how ICE came about. ICE's job is to make sure people who aren't supposed to be here, or so people who aren't supposed to be here are here and gonna do something funky, right? Like how them people, because there's a lot of stuff going on with that. The people got behind them airplanes and right. This is the word that they telling us, they didn't know who they were, type of stuff. So anyway, ICE became about because of that, to make sure that there are no foreign actors here to do America dirty. So ICE does serve a purpose, but we never heard so much about ICE, obviously, until Trump got into office the second time around. Even his first time around, we didn't hear about ICE like that. But again, Obama was deporting people left and right. He had the kids in the cage. I'll say kids in the cages, right? Because that's what people were saying back then, or during the Trump administration, the kids in the cages. But that started under the Obama and probably before that, right? Administration. So ICE, again, never heard so much about ICE until recently. And again, I concede that Trump was doing too much and doing a lot. But yeah, the Democrats are like, we're not going to budge. Now I want to throw this in the comment section before I get in the comment section. Wouldn't it be nice if the Democrats shut down the government for Black Americans to get our reparations? A hate crime bill, maybe like a little 40 acres and a mule or any of that stuff. Wouldn't that be nice if they did that for their most loyal group of voters? Black folks, they shut something down for us. Wouldn't that be nice? Or would it just be utopia? I don't know. Let me see what y'all got to say. And thank you for bearing with me. I'm going in the comment section. I'm going all the way to the top, which wasn't that far. Okay, let's see. Where did I leave off? Y'all, my voice is raspy today because I literally almost, I kid you not. I'll tell y'all that if I have time. Vendetta, how you doing? Says my money is funny. Everybody's money is funny. You used to putting a little bit of gas in the car. Now you're putting a lot of bit of gas in the car. JJ says Elon said he was going to pay TSA checks. Well, okay. Hell, he got the money. He's the wealthiest man in the world. They say he is close to becoming a trillionaire. How many trillionaires have we had in, history? Recent history? Probably none, right? So yeah, he got the money, paid him a check. So I guess basically saying I'll pay them and we just, keep doing what we're doing, but do not, I guess do the dance with the Democrats. I don't know. I blocked Elon, so I don't know what he be talking about. One who cares. Thank you for asking everybody to like and share. Brother Thunder, how you doing today? Hope you're doing well. K-Mac, what's going on? Says salute. I think the politicians should not get paid either. Come on now. Because the minute they miss a paycheck, they're going to be like, okay, what it is we need to do now? Oh, we agree? Okay, cool. Come on. Minute they miss a paycheck. But see, I agree. I don't think they should get paid either. If you cannot work in tandem with the for the American people, why are you getting a paycheck? Brother Reggie, how you doing? So I bet you ICE is nicer than them cranky TSA agents. You ain't lying. Some of them, especially where I'm at, right? Some of them, boy, I tell you, it's like, how you get this job? You just mean, Beverly White, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. JJ says ICE agents might try to plant them the nickel bags on passengers they don't like. I hope not. I mean, anybody really could do that, whether it's ICE agents, TSA, or whatever it is. And, depending on where you're flying, sometimes they'll have, I guess maybe I don't know, they're police officers, right? They have the dogs there and they sniffing to see if anybody got something funky on them. So yeah, hopefully they don't do that though. Thunder says, question, will ICE be performing TSA and ICE duties at the same time? If so, it will get very interesting. So per Tom Holman, he says, I don't know. That's going to be up to TSA, their department, to figure out what ICE's function will be, because ICE is getting paid. And again, a lot of TSA agents is like, nah, get somebody else to do it for free. Now, the last time, was it Christy? No, Pam Bondi won about it though. They handed out $10,000 checks to some of the TSA agents that stayed on anyway, right? But I guess some of these TSA agents is like, nah, I'm good, because we don't know if that's going to happen next time, right? Kevin, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Tito, was up with you? One who cares says gas here in St. Louis is $3.57. East St. Louis is $4.09. Yeah, so it's getting up there, and I'd imagine it's probably pretty cheap normally there in those areas. So yeah, Papa Nally, what's going on with Papa Nally, rather? What's going on? She says, bet they do it though. Okay, so I bet what? Who do? Oh, you mean the Democrats? Brother Damon, how are you today? Hope you're doing well. Facts and feelings, what's going on? She says, peace and love, family. Iran made it clear if U.S. does A, B, C, D, they will do E, F, G, A. Exactly. And that's what they said. They're like, we're not scared. And so, Trump and Netanyahu are like, this ain't what was supposed to go on, right? Because Trump and Netanyahu was like, hey, you other nations, y'all better get involved. Y'all need to help us. And the other nations are like, no, we're good. Because y'all didn't get our buy-in when y'all did this. Y'all just did what you wanted to do. Now you asking us to come and help. Now, it sounds like, in a sense, not technically, but Europe is now having to think about some things, because y'all know Iran, they got pretty close to Europe. I think it was yesterday or the day before with some of the missiles. But they're trying to, aiming for USA bases and stuff, and they got pretty close. They said it was like 2,500 miles this thing got to. It got shot down, but nevertheless, so now everybody knows, okay, Iran is not just, really sending things to the Middle East, the bases in the Middle East. They can make it pretty far. So it's concerning to a lot of people like Europe now. Like, wait a minute now. We were just kind of standing back. We were saying we don't want nothing to do with it, but we got to think about some things. So yeah. Let's see. Arneva says Iran is fighting against the enemies of the Most High. Come on now. And everybody was told to leave Iran alone. Like, they not who you believe them to be. And for whatever reason, Trump was like, and Netanyahu, just do it. And I think they kind of regret that now. Now they sent 2,500 more troops from California, in fact, on their way to Iran. And they're entertaining a ground game, the Marines. And so if you know anything about Marines, and I do, I'm just playing. They are ground troops, right? For the most part. Baby Oil, how you doing? It says most people also don't know that a lot of the world's fertilizer also goes through the Strait of Hormuz. That is 100% correct. So there's a lot of stuff that goes there. Thunder says, I just heard Iran just hit Israel nuclear facility today. That is true. That happened. So Israel is getting tagged up. They won't let a lot of that news come out of there, but yeah, they not over there, because you remember when it first jumped off, they was dancing in the bunkers, they, celebrating. They was down there partying, and you ain't heard about no more parties coming up out of there. Hey, Brother Jonell, how you doing? I hope that you are doing well today. Brother David says California gas, $6 plus. Thunder says I just came from there, and a can of hash is darn near $4. Oh, hell no. Hash? Go Gadget, go. How you doing? Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Anthony, how you doing? Says, I drive trucks and diesel is $5.37. And they said when the truck drivers start paying that kind of money to move stuff across the country, that's when everybody else is really going to start to feel it. And it's already going on now. Like I said, I was at the grocery store today, and I was like, oh, nevertheless, I didn't get that milk. I got a different kind, that Yucca. My app that tells me what's good said it was good. So I got something else. It was half price. So I got two. Facts Not Feeling says U.S. is doing sleight of hand with this attack on Iran. A journalist by the name of Rich Medhurst, reporter on LNG, liquefied natural gas market, is being cornered by the U.S. with destruction of the Middle East. Yeah, and I don't know a lot about it, but it sounds like United States took sanctions off of Iran as well, and Russia. I ain't taking sanctions off of Iran, and you fight them at the same time, because they're trying to, get the oil down, which is like, what is the oil now? Like $110 a barrel, give or take. So they're thinking if they release some more oil from Iran of all places, that I guess it'll alleviate what's going on with the oil prices. Sounds like it just put more money in Iran's pocket. Yanni, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. One of the cares that seem like that's a yes or no time. Training the question, yeah. Tom is like, listen, that's out of my pay grade right there. I'm just telling you that ICE, I keep sliding down my chair. ICE will be there. I just don't know to what capacity will be there, but they will be there. So yeah. Brother Damon says, the Nabisco female is annoying. You crazy. Nabisco is crazy. Donovan says, family, if you can get some flower pots and seeds and seedling, he says, and grow some food, if you can stock up before the price goes up, it's not because you can't find it, but will you be able to afford it? Yeah, it's affordability. And eventually, once people start going and buying up everything, you ain't going to be able to find it. Right? Anthony says, California diesel, ooh, $8.32. Yeah, I'd have to park that truck, give me an Uber gig. Even that is high, right? You have to do the walking Uber. Yanni says, let's say talking to Brother David. Todd, how you doing? How you doing, Brother Todd says, real simple. ICE is going to help TSA deport you. And you would think, like, if you're not supposed to be here legally, why would you be in the friendly skies? Unless you're going back home, right? I'm going back home. That's what I would say. I'm going back home, okay? You ain't got to touch me. I'm on my way back to where I came from. Thunder says, trust me, I know that immigration enforcement are at airports, especially when I'm abroad. Yeah, so they're already there, you know. Antithesis, how you doing? He says, Valdosta, Georgia. That's where my mom was from. She born in Valdosta, Georgia. Yes, indeed, Corey. How you doing? Says Dims Ick. Sister Sunlight, how you doing? Tito, what's going on with you? Did I say hi to you already? Now, hello. Brother Damon says Iran 2 over. They're 2 over the news cycle. So he said they're over the news cycle. Yeah, but Iran is like, stop believing them. They lying to y'all. We're not agreeing to no ceasefires. We're not coming to the table. We've been here before. And look where we are. We didn't start this. They did. And because we did a ceasefire with them last year and they sit up there and lie. Right. So, you know, yeah. Gang Menace, how you doing? Dearness, how you doing? Says it makes sense for ICE to get more involved considering TSA shortage. The Democrats will complain anyway. True that some illegals fly in. Okay, well, there you go. 23 Archer, how you doing? Says, so is Karen Bass giving money to the workers who are not getting paid? Come on now. You know, she only cares about illegal immigration and immigrants. That's all she cares about. That's all she cares about. She don't care about nobody else. You know? Brother Thunder said, I just bought some more new radios for my family members. Bofang, I got one. He says, and if you want to get some CB radios for when you're on the road or if they knock out the cell phones. Yeah, because they've done that before, right? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Says Democrats, Republicans, neither one cares about us. Come on now. Yeah, Brother Damon, both of them are racist. Hungangi says, I should have sent ICE to Salem a couple of days ago. You talking about with the Somalis and some of the other immigrants were there in Alabama marching against the Edmund Pettus Bridge, or across it rather, talking about we shall overcome. It's like, what is going on? What are you overcoming? What are you overcoming if you don't mind me asking? You know, because our ancestors were overcoming, still overcoming. But what are y'all overcoming? You know? Original Copper, American Son, how you doing? Says they don't like you. No, they don't. They really don't. Let's keep down just tiny bit greater achievements. How you doing? I'm good. How are you? Gold Crown Eyes, what's going on with you? Lily in the building. Hope you're doing well. Brother Damon says, oh, there are a trillion Aries out there. Like Aries, like the sign. I'm an Aries. Oh, how you doing? Says, oh, sis, I'm glad you have the little history. You gave the little history lesson. It says a lot of new generation don't understand this history. It's not like they all left the Democrat Party. They are still there and alive and well. Yeah, because when they tell it, the Southern switch, you know, oh, all the races went to the Republicans and now the Democrats, they got these halos on and they're really nice. Nah, they didn't all leave. Some of them stayed. Some of them, you know, took their ball and went to the Republican Party and the Republicans welcome, like, come on over here, because we're not racist enough. So they're both racist. They both do not like Black Americans at all. Okay. So yeah, D-Mac, He says that they are supposed to lead by example. Workers not getting paid, they shouldn't get paid. I'm sure they have other passive income. Yeah, Congress, but they sitting up there sitting on their hands. We will not budge. We are not coming to the table. That's the Democrats, right? Until they reform ICE. Like, y'all want to reform ICE? And the minute something crazy happened over here, y'all gonna be acting like you didn't have nothing to do with it, right? Now, I agree. They had a lot going on, roughing up people. You know, our brother Keith Porter there in Los Angeles, California, had his life taken from him by an ICE agent that was off duty on New Year's Eve, right? So there needs to be something that happened. But like I said, you don't hear about that no more. I haven't heard anything about no egregious ICE raids. When Tom Homan took over, I think he had a conversation with them. Was like, hey, this other sucker, I don't know what he was telling y'all to do, but stop doing that, okay? Go out there and get people who ain't supposed to be here and do that. I think once Tom Homan, he seemed like he's a reasonable guy, right? You know, Sands being accused of, you know, receiving $50,000 allegedly, something he did. I don't know. Anyway, Mike Nice, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Monet says $3.57 for gas. Oh my God, it's $3.79 here in Southern Kentucky, which is high. It's itching to hit $4. Trump, you need to go sit down. Bring all the prices down. Well, you know, Trump is in Mar-a-Lago. He's always on vacation in Mar-a-Lago. That's where he's at now. You know, and he had some, what's his name? The leader of the Proud Boys, Terrio is his last name. Enrico Terrio, he was there. Like, so he's always kind of entertaining at Mar-a-Lago. You know, there's stuff going on in Hawaii. They have major flooding that hasn't happened, I think, in 20 years. And I don't know if the dam was broke yet, but they were saying that the dam could break. And they told all of those people, like 5,000 people in that area, hey, leave now, because if the dam breaks, you know, so they have a state of emergency there. Is it Tennessee? I think somewhere where they had a wildfire. So all these things going on. They said Trump to this moment hasn't said anything about that at all. He's at Mar-a-Lago, you know, making tweets, threatening people, talking about we got rid of Iran, but if you other countries don't help us, so which is it, right? But nevertheless, he's, you know, got a situation room in Mar-a-Lago. So yeah. Brother David says Iran is making it rain. You ain't lying, but they ain't telling y'all the whole story. But yeah, they over there. Well, who cares? Says if there's a Publix, there's a discount for 55 and up. You must ask for it. So, or for grocery, I ain't 55 yet. Ain't no Publix here, but it's good to know. I'm almost 55. In less than 30 days, I'll be 55. Max says, I think it's a good thing that ICE is going to be at the airport for safety. After all, what is going on and the threats? Yeah, I'm saying a lot of those TSA agents are probably working overtime. They tired. We don't need them to be tired. Okay, we need them to be alert, making sure ain't nobody doing nothing, sneaking stuff through that they, you know, ain't supposed to get through or whatever. Because yeah, it's a huge safety risk. So they need some help. You know. Thunder says 2,500-mile radius from Iran extends deep into Europe, across North Africa, and throughout the Indian Ocean, reaching as far as, yep, that's where it was, Diego Garcia, and coverage of cities like London, Paris, and Berlin. You're 100% right. That's exactly why Europe is like, hold on. We ain't even know y'all could come over here like that. So now they're like, okay, we got to figure something out. Because they have made it clear we're not trying to get involved here, but damn. And, you know, the Iranians ain't really even going after London like that, but they're like, we know y'all are letting the United States use some of y'all bases, right, to do stuff to us. So as long as they're there, we'll get there eventually, you know, so that now people are concerned. Again, like I say, you know, my sister and my nieces are in Paris right now, so they need to come on back. Yeah, I thought that's not good. Marjorie, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And Corey says, I'm doing fabulous. I have no complaints at all. Fast and Phyllis says, Iran will only attack the bases from which they are attacked. Yep. So if Europe does not want their bases attacked, do like Spain and say, no, it's bases being used to attack Iran. So I should have read your comments, because a lot of countries are like, yeah, United States, get you and go. You got to go. You got to get the hell up out of here. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. Right? Because they're like, we don't, hey, we didn't sit in the situation room with y'all when y'all was, you and Netanyahu was coming up with this thing. Y'all didn't ask us. Now y'all want us to get involved. Even Netanyahu, you guys need to get involved and help. And they're like, help do what? Help you do what? I don't know if y'all saw, it was Kim Ford. He was one of big time MAGA too. At least sounds like he used to be at this point. Big time MAGA. He was one of Trump's top counter terrorist, specialists, and he put out a giant note and all that on X and social media and all that, basically saying he's quitting because he does not believe that America should go in, for Israel and things like that. And so he said he's quitting. He says, I didn't see anything. All the stuff that I've seen, I haven't seen a reason for us to go and attack Iran. There was no reason. So, of course, now the Trump administration is talking about, yeah, we're going to have to try to, we think he broke some laws with, doing what he did. So now they're talking about bringing some, charges up on him for divulging information. Of course, once they defect from MAGA, they crazy. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she left, now she crazy. It's like, but she wasn't crazy when she was doing all that foolishness though, but now she crazy. Okay. So it's getting very, very interesting. Let's see. Let me skip down just a tiny bit so I can get a little bit relevant. I'm already at the bottom. Dana, how you doing? You say I paid the $5.99 in LA. That's crazy, crazy, crazy. Marjorie says ICE agents at the airport is another way to get more deportation cases to fill up these private prisons for the prison constituencies, making billions of American taxpayer dollars. Yeah, I mean, the premise is, if they criminals, yeah, they probably got to go to jail or something, I would imagine. But the premise is, if you are here illegally, they deport you, right? So I don't know necessarily how they would fill up the prisons. I'm not saying they can't, but I think they're supposed to deport them. Now, they was filling up CCOT not too long ago, but they stopped doing that. In fact, I think a judge not too long ago ruled that what the Trump administration did as far as sending detainees or, the immigrants to CCOT there in El Salvador was illegal. So you got to send them back type of stuff. I don't know what happened with it, but that was the word on the curb. But I don't know if they'll fill them up with prison. They fill the prisons up with us. But again, ain't nobody shutting the government down for that. All the black folks that's filling these prisons, not nan Democrat. Okay, and I know the Republicans don't care for us either, but the Republicans don't come with fish fries in hand, to black Americans. It's the Democrats that do that, but they're not shutting down no government for us at all. Right? There's still the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act bill, whatever it is, that's collecting dust. They ain't said not one peep about that. Not one. But they stand at 10 toes down on keeping ICE at bay by keeping the government partially shut down. And TSA, they ain't out there with ICE. They're going through the airports and stuff. And then they also said too, because Congress people, they get like escorts and things like that when they're flying. They'll just have to call and say, hey, such and such, representative senators coming through, and they'll have them an escort or whatever. So it sounds like some of them are being outed for saying, hey, I'm coming through, need an escort. It's like, how the hell you need an escort? And y'all ain't, especially if you're a Democrat, right? You make it hard for TSA. They ain't got time to be escorting you through this airport. You can get it like you live it. You'll be all right. Ain't nobody focusing on you like that. That's what I would say anyway. Kim X says the American people want the job done, but they want to dictate how it's done. They are not cut out for it. Okay. And thank you, Mike, for reminding people there's ways to help the channel. Love and appreciate you for that. Okay. Let's see. Facts I Feel It says FYI, Europe is low-key involved. Yes, they are. They are trying to have it both ways, like the Arab countries. So yes, so they're not involved like, launching anything. I think they're letting U.S. Use some of their bases, and they might be giving some intel to some degree, but they ain't just boots on the ground yet. But they might eventually have to, since they saw that Iran was like over there. Okay, let's go across the pond. They're like, what? Derek, you say the Dems are not responsible either. Okay, Roz, how you doing? It says America can't afford to fight. Well, they thought, see what it is it's hubris, right? They think, and then when I say they, I guess Trump and Netanyahu, they're probably like, oh, just kaboom. And then Iran will say, and they've been told, even Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, leave them alone, okay? Leave them alone. Because he said, if you do it, if you allow it, told the United States, when Trump was in office the first time, If you allow Israel to drag you into a war with Iran, America as you know it will not be the same. Okay. And now they're finding this out the hard way that you should have left them people alone. Okay. Because as they said, we knew this day was coming. Okay. They said that the United States is spending on one of their missiles or whatever it is, millions of dollars, some of them. Iran, some of theirs is just couple $100. The stuff they have that they're using now. But the minister of foreign affairs is like, oh, them was like little firecrackers compared to what we got. You know, it says well, some of their missiles is like one, and then it projects like a whole bunch of. So yeah, United States and Israel, they wasn't quite ready for that one. Well, thank you, dearest. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be double nickels in a couple weeks from now. It's, don't waste your youth. Time does fly, I tell you that. Marjorie says, I hear that the inmates at the prisons are shredding up Epstein files, but maybe it's just hearsay incident. I'm sure they ain't giving no prisoners the responsibility for that. Can you imagine? JPay will be lit. Girl, let me tell you what they doing. Write this down. They be up in there sending kites. Listen, I ain't never been to prison. I know how prison works to some degree. They be sending kites. Such and such was in the Epstein files. Okay, send that down and put it on the wire, right? And then, with the CEOs up in there, they take a little change to do something strange. They've been sent the kite to the CEO, and the CEO been to put it on the, I doubt that. But who knows? Stranger things have happened, Maxine Phillips says, U.S. is using England's Cyprus Air Base to attack Iran, and also England just sent an attack submarine to Arabia Sea. Some of the Europeans are involved. Yeah, and I agree with you. And they're gonna be drawn out a little bit more because Iran said what Iran said. If you are complicit with the United States, well, we're gonna be complicit with you. Oh, I mean, funny, but not funny. And the crazy part is there's a lot of people who are mad because it seems like America is rooting for Iran. It's like, yeah, that really just means that America is waking up. America is not believing the propaganda and the hype that we used to. When I say we, I mean collectively, right? They put something out there on the wire. Oh, they a good office and all. They doing all this. Osama, they doing, whoever, whether it's on the continent, they bad. And they were like, oh my God, go get them. Don't let them do this to America. But now people like, listen, with the inception of the internet, people ain't believing the stuff they used to believe because the information is out there. We've seen this before. We're not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. And again, why did you go messing with them people? I just want to know why you was messing with them people. Them people being in Iran. Why was you over there messing with them? We know why. But I'm saying why? Okay? Because in a sense, United States and Israel, well, no, it was they were gonna do it first, or they're pointing the finger at each other, right? It was them, no, it was them. So we went, it was like, what y'all not gonna get us to believe is that y'all never had no meetings. This was never a conversation before. This wasn't planned out. Obviously wasn't planned out right because look what's going on, it's a mess. And unfortunately, they will send American troops to their final moments, unfortunately, and there's a lot of families that have to grapple with that. There's, like I said, they sent 2,500 more troops over there. They're on their way now by ship. And I don't know, you're going to put them on the ground because Iran is like, do it and see what happens, So you're going to put them on the ground or put them over there to lose their life or what? What is there to gain? Like people keep asking, okay, if you're not there for the oil or, because they keep saying, oh, we need to get rid of the Iranian regime. Okay, well, you didn't, sent the glory, most of their leadership, including the supreme leader. And obviously they don't want that regime. So I know that they want somebody else, but it's like, okay, you can't really tell them people what to do. And clearly they're not going to allow you. Because, at first when it started, Trump was telling the Iranians, oh, overthrow your government, get a new leadership in there. I was like, are you crazy? And then Iran said to American citizens, well, y'all do the same thing. Overthrow your government, because they've made it clear. We're not trying to unalive, in a sense, Americans, but that's your president. And, Israel, they're sending y'all here. We don't have any beef with y'all, but you all are going to, lose your life for some agenda. And, the Iranians, they call Trump and them's administration the Epstein regime. So they're like, y'all going to go out here for the Epstein regime. This has nothing to do with you. You guys aren't going to gain from this. This is all, at the behest of the people in the Middle East, who is the only people in the Middle East that don't have a natural tan. So let's see. Rose, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. You say, forget both red and blue. I say, send the entire Congress over to Iran to free rest of America, or free them rather from the crab show. Come on now, they ain't going. Now, some of them do have children that are enlisted, not many, but I agree. And I saw an ad from Pete Hegseth, who is the defense secretary of war, okay, because they changed the name. He basically is telling people you could come back, out of retirement, re-enlist if you want. And they're leaving an application open to, I think, April 2027 for people to come back if they've retired or they've left the military. I forget what the term they're using, but come on back. We'll let you come on. It's like, now damn well, okay? Them veterans from the Korean War and the Vietnam War, they're not trying to go back up in there, or any other war, but so it's getting very interesting. But yeah, they're not gonna go over there and fight. Corey says America should have should have minded their own business. Yep. America don't know how to do that. Marjorie says, what amazes me is SCOTUS, Congress, Senate, Judiciary Committee, Republicans and Democrats are as quiet as mice about all of this chaos. You're right, Demetri, those inmates would be getting rich. Okay, they'd be selling the secrets. But see, the other thing too is the Democrats nor the Republicans are saying anything, because you know who they work for. I'll give y'all a secret, because y'all know I can't really get into it like that on here. Other people can, I just can't. But I'll put you in on something. So I read her book, y'all. I told you I read her book, okay? And in this book, she's Kamala Harris. She's a Democrat. She says, I will always defend their right to defend themselves. Okay, now y'all know who they are, okay? So a lot of people says, if Kamala was in office, we wouldn't be going through this. Y'all should have voted for Kamala. I told you I read her book, and she mentioned them people a bunch of times in this. I will always stand up for their right to defend themselves. So that's why you're not hearing either side of the aisle. I mean, you hear some, like your Bernie Sanders, but he's probably really the only one that's kind of really demonstrative. There's some, but for the most part, they like, we will always defend their right. Because a lot of them, if you follow Track APAC, a lot of them getting some money. And, so yeah. Facts I Feel says the genocide of Black people in Sudan is funded by wealthy Arab monarchy and will be stopped if and when Iran dissolves the country known as the UAE, where Dubai is located. Yeah. And that particular genocide in Sudan is the largest one even to date. It said there's not been as many people displaced in modern day times anyway, I guess, as in Sudan. Nobody talks about that at all. They do, but they don't, and even now people aren't even talking about Palestine, and they're still doing them bad too, So yeah, I agree with you. You also say Americans are not rooting for Iran as much as they are rooting for justice. That part. Not rooting for white supremacy, war machine is not automatically rooting for the other side. Yeah, and maybe I didn't finish the thought, but that's what it is. It's against Trump, and his regime, if you will. That's what the American people are rooting for, and obviously who the United States is in bed with. People are just fatigued of it. And as I always say, I know a lot of people kind of are, mad that Kamala didn't get in office. If Kamala got in office, we wouldn't be here. When I say here, I mean everybody awakening to what has been going on and what is going now. Most people would have been back to sleep. The Democrats just have a different way of doing American people dirty at the behest of other countries, right? But we wouldn't have been here as fast as we are now. It's not just because Black people have always been kind of awakened to the horrors of the United States. But now you got white folks, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, whatever walk of life they are, rich, poor, everybody is seeing, oh, so America is the puppet. But we weren't going to see that, right? Trump administration, whether people like it or not, has been the great equalizer in that everybody can get it. I don't care about nobody. If you ain't got no money, not like I do, or anybody can give me a $400 million plane and all this other stuff. Yeah, I don't care about you. So yeah. Let's see. Baby Oil says they believe if they get Iran, they could destabilize China and Russia. Then Africa's next. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. They're all nuts. Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, and they always already started talking about messing with South Africa, because you guys got to remember when the war between Palestine and Israel happened, South Africa was the first nation to call it what it was, and want to bring Israel up on, war crime charges and things like that. So they've been having conversations, they being Israel and the United States, about, hey, y'all remember when South Africa was woo, woo, woo? So they trying to, mess with them. But you're right, it is about China and Russia. But China and Russia, they ain't stupid, which is why they are giving intel and things like that to Iran. And they've also started working with Iran, with moving some of their stuff through the Strait of Hormuz. So, but of course, we know what happened with Venezuela, where they kidnapped the president and commandeered the country and some of that oil, right? And they did that to circumvent to get to Cuba. Y'all know what's going on in Cuba right now. They are in the dark. Their water system is shut down because there's no electricity. So they got, just without being gross water sources. Food is rotting. There's a lot going on. Cuba's completely in the dark. And that's because they were not able to get oil to, for energy. And the United States did that. Now, you guys know the United States been trying to get at Cuba for a very long time. And this is how they did it. So, yeah, they're trying to do the same thing to China and Russia. But China and Russia's like, okay, try it. And let's see. Then, of course, Trump is threatening Iran. You guys better open up the Strait of Hormuz. You better open it up right now. And they're like, man, go on somewhere. Tito says she got a book. Laugh out loud. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's called 107 Days. And she's talking about the 107 days that she was running, in a sense, when she got, she replaced Biden, because she didn't primary or anything like that. But 107 days when she replaced Biden. So she's telling, essentially every day what happened. But throughout her conversations, she was talking about how she will always support their right to defend themselves. So I know people are emotional, and I got a commercial break for y'all. I see a lot of men online crashing out, just losing their stuff. Oh, you MAGA, you guys voted for this. Yeah, how dare you? Yeah, we should have voted for Kamala. We wouldn't be in this. It's like, how does your woman or your women get in the mood for you with all that falsetto in your drawers? Because instead of you being on the internet crashing out about, man, do something. You a man. Figure out a solution. Well, regardless of who in the White House, especially as us Black folks, we got to figure out what to do for ourselves, right? But you a grown man, y'all crashing out on the internet. Oh, I don't know how y'all women do it. Y'all better be checking out the cable man, the mailman, the milkman, because I don't think she's attracted to that. I don't know your wives like that, but I don't know. It wouldn't be me. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Thunder says, DK, if it gets bad enough, they will do like the government did in Ukraine and drive up, hand you a rifle, pointing to say they're coming from that direction. Good luck. Yeah, that's what they did to some of the African brothers and sisters over there that was, going to school, gaffled them up and put them in the say you in the army now. They're like, what? I'm just over here as a student. They're like, yeah, class is closed. So crazy, right? Yes, Roz Cory Booker, boy. He got a stamp. APAC on his forehead. And I've seen some videos of him. Oh, yes, the black youth. Oh, yeah, they love you. Facts and Phyllis says, if you see those sisters in the military showing off their lovely goodies, well, in the TikTok videos, yeah, I've seen them, says it's awful to think they will be sent to war zone fighting Iranian soldiers. That's really effed up. Yeah, that's the kind of the other concern. It's like y'all over there playing. The Iranians ain't playing with you though. Okay, y'all over there TikToking and stop. You know what I mean? And that's what we working with in a sense. Facts I Feel says Trump was a wonderful wake-up call for America. Yeah. But the people like to be asleep. They like to be, everything's good. Is it? Or are you just in la la land? Is everything good? I don't think it is. Margie says, I really think Kamala would have done this. Yeah, she would have. The same thing because the Republicans would pressure her into doing something about Iran and Israel. Somehow she faltered under pressure. Yeah, well, the puppet master is the puppet master no matter who in the White House. But I'm trying to be nice. These people who are very emotional, they think that Kamala would have been better. Kamala would have just rocked you back to sleep. That don't mean, because there's a lot of funky things that go on when you sleep. When you go back to sleep, that don't mean the chaos stops. The chaos is still going on. You just, in a sleeper for however long you sleep, 8 hours. That don't mean that the chaos has stopped. It's still going on. So people really just wanted to it's almost like you bury your head in the sand type of thing. I just don't want to know what's going on, but it's still going on. So that's what Kamala was going to do. They were going to put their puppet strings on her too. You think she was going to tell them no? I'm telling y'all, if y'all read the book, she says, I will always, defend their right to defend themselves. So they were going to attach strings to her as well. I'm sure she's already probably had a conversation as she was running, right? Greater Achievement says facts. Kingdom says, I can't stand a grown man at Wines. It's terrible. I started to block them. Like, I'm tired of seeing you whiny grown men. You guys just voted. Yeah, you vote for Trump. Jeez. I don't get it. Hey, Herbert, how you doing? Says Kamala was the border czar. All of this outside of Iran is her fault. Well, she was, in a sense. She didn't like that title. I'm telling you, she said that she didn't like that title. She didn't like being called the border czar because Biden sent her to the southern border eventually, right? Because there was criticism that she hadn't gone. So she went and she stood up there. Please stop coming over here. Go back. Don't come. Like these people still walking by you as you giving a speech, right? Don't come over here. And then they continue to come over here. So yeah, she didn't like that title. Kimberly, how you doing? Says, yep, I haven't heard anything about ICE since the white lady was taken out of here. Yeah, once Tom Homan went and he was like, okay, I got it from here. Greg, going back to the hole you came from. You run around here dressed like you in Nazi Germany and stuff, doing the most. And so once Tom Homan got there, he says, okay, we're going to bring down the temperature because there is a lot going on and y'all doing a lot. So he went, had conversations with some of the mayors and the governors there, right? In Minnesota, and they decided, okay, we're going to work together. But, Greg Bovino and the rest of them, Kristi Noem, they went in there really hot. And a lot of that happened. But I don't know, where's the light? Have y'all heard about ICE protests lately? Again, I'm not tapped into everything. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but what happened? It was like an ICE protest every 5 seconds somewhere, but I haven't heard about them. I haven't seen any. And I think, like a lot of people said, the Democrats, yeah, they was in the middle of that, ramping a lot of that up, stopping them, wouldn't let them do their job. And so a lot of stuff, kind of got heated. I'm glad that the temperature has come down. But I think the fact still remains that people who are here legally need to leave. Right? Sharon, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Facts and Phyllis says history will look back at this time period like they did at the German population after that man was defeated in World War II and say, how could 240 million Americans allow their government to do this to Cuba? Yeah, I've seen a lot of people now start to speak out about what the United States is doing to Cuba, especially a lot of white people, which is surprising. I don't know why it's surprising, but I've seen a lot of them say, hey, you guys, there's a lot going on, in particular in Cuba. They got them completely in the dark, and it's eventually, if not already, diseases and all that will start to spread, and the United States are just So Mexico, they're trying to help them by taking them some fuel and supplies, things like that. They don't really want to get involved in the war aspect of it, because I saw too where Cuba was like, yeah, the United States is going to try to make their move on us, but so Mexico is trying to help them with supplies and fuel and stuff like that. But yeah, it was like 11 million people, they said, in Cuba that's being affected. In the United States, so what? But they want to take over Cuba, is what United States have always wanted to do that. I don't know why I'm glitching, but hopefully it'll stop. Let's see. Hey, Brother Samuel, how you doing? I hope that you're doing well. Ross says people act like the Democrats are better. Epstein worked with both parties with several presidential administrations. Yeah, it was everybody on that damn list. Okay. Hey, Pop, how are you doing today? Corey says, I heard she got fired. Kamala from the Borders are. Yeah, she also disclosed in that book that Biden and his wife they did not like her at all. So she got invited to a 4th of July event, picnic or whatever it is, the last year that they were in when she took over running for president. That's when they invited her, but they never invite her or family to 4th of July with everybody else. She just wasn't invited. And Jill Biden, she said, would never forgive her for calling her man racist. Remember when they had that debate and stuff? So they didn't like her. Leather and luxury cars. How you doing? Says, I prefer the aggressive approach. To be honest, shows we not effing around with them. Okay. I don't know about all of that. I think they was doing a little bit too much. Facts and Phyllis says the policy would be the same if Kamala would have won the presidency, but more Black people would be for the war, and many from the 82%, I mean 92%, be celebrating hers and Dougie's steamy relationship. You crazy. Marjorie says media blocking the ICE raids and protests, keeping us focused on this war. I mean, I don't know how true it is, because you were seeing it all over the social media, from different people who were at the ICE raid, so you just don't really see it. Again, maybe I'm just not on that portal. That stuff's not on my timeline or whatever, but you was hearing about it every day. It's almost like it's just stopped cold. The raids and, the austerity of it anyway. Almost like it just stopped just cold in its tracks. So, yeah. Hey, Rhonda, how you doing? Says, as you know, yes, Robert Mueller, RIP to him, died on Trump's platform saying he's good that he died and he can't hurt people. That demon's insane, no soul at all. So yes, Robert Mueller, former FBI director, passed away, age 81. And yeah, Trump has been on one, but he did make a tweet, post, or whatever it is, saying good. He's glad that he's gone. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, wait a minute, nah, damn, that's pretty evil. But Trump has said it himself that he's like, I don't think I'm going to heaven. I'm not going to heaven, Say, he done a lot of stuff. So, listen, if y'all believe that Biden was off his rocker, would you also believe that Trump is off his rocker too? Now, y'all know most of those people, they got, puppet masters. Trump is always at Mar-a-Lago. He's rarely in Washington. So who's really running Washington? We know there's other people who do it, but, when Biden was saying and doing things, tripping over himself and all this other stuff, people was calling him, whatever it was, And I do hear people saying that about Trump. I too, in my personal belief, think there's something going on. But it's obvious that nobody can really, because it's hard for me to, boy, he say that sounds surround himself with a lot of yes people, but it's like, damn, ain't nobody can say, hey man, you might not want to tweet that. That's not cool. You know, you celebrating the death of a former FBI director. Come on, man. So there is no decorum there at all. Let's see. Somebody said something. Sharon, you say Trump, many Army ICE going to the airport, laugh out loud. They get paid good to just stand around and pat search. Yeah, they are going to the airport. I mean, but my thing is this, y'all, let's just do some deductive reasoning. If they can send ICE agents to the airport, might they not have nothing to do? Are they not doing ICE raids? I don't know, because last year Trump's number was 2 million people deported. And they said they reached that number. How true it is, I don't know, but that's what they were going for. So it's like, y'all not going for this number this year. So with that, if you have time to send ICE agents, or they don't have anything to do as far as their own capacity, and you can send them to airports, and what's going on with the ICE raids? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Herbert says the people who worked under Kamala in California said that she's lazy. You could tell by how she talks. Yeah, there's some things, I've heard about that, how lazy she is. I'll say this about Kamala. I don't think Kamala is lazy per se. I think Kamala obviously has had to, work pretty hard to get where she is, whether she's gone to school and just the things she's done. I never want to kind of discount her and her achievements. I don't think Kamala is any more ambitious than most politicians. I think they're all lazy, I think they don't want to do the work anymore. They rather, get on microphones, all of them talk and scream and holler. And they think that's, doing the bidding for American people. It's like, no, get yourselves in there and work and do things that's conducive for America. But none of them are doing that. So in a sense, they all kind of lazy, So yeah. Leather Luxury Car says, why is it our job to help everyone though? And how's everyone doing? It's not our job. It's not our job. We say, we're talking about Black Americans. It's not our job. And a lot of people are just having a hard time with that. Hell, we can't even help ourselves, let alone help everybody else. Nobody else helps us. And I know they get mad when we say that. I'm past the point of even caring, to be honest with you. Everybody wants us to stop doing what we're doing, which sometimes is not a whole lot, but we working on that, right? They want us to stop that and help them do what? So once we help everybody else get everything they need, and every time you vote for a Democrat, I'm gonna talk about this tomorrow on the African Diaspora News Channel, but we vote for the Democrat Party, and they go help everybody else. They help everybody else, and then we get nothing. And then so now that we're starting to have these conversations with each other, say, yeah, we might not want to do that no more. Well, why? We're Black Americans. Oh, you guys, you listening to this, that, and the other. See, because we're not listening to the sweethearts of Black media anymore. Y'all know who the sweethearts are. Y'all can put them in the comment section. They're not effective. And Brother Phil talks about this a lot. The sweethearts, the boule, them people, they're not effective no more. We're not really listening to them like that, because the wool has been pulled off and we realize what they've been doing. They have been rocking Black Americans back to sleep. Once you go out there and vote for more of nothing, go jump back in the cradle, put the pacifier in your mouth, go to sleep, and then wake up when it's time to come and do it all over again. See, that's what they've been telling us to do. And so after Kamala lost, they thought they'd go on about 6 months to a year of shaming. Right? You, how dare you? Look what you Black folks, you didn't try hard at the end. And when they saw that didn't work, they're like, okay. So now you're starting to hear some of these sweethearts of Black media talking about, Black economics and all this stuff. Now they kind of pivoting because it's like, man, ain't nobody listening to all that foolishness y'all had going on. Okay. We're not voting for nothing no more. We're going to keep having these conversations. Right. So again, I'm going to get a little bit more into that tomorrow. Quick stop, Dante. What's going on with you? Corey says, no, not the one who works with ICE. Oh, we talking about Christy Nome? She got demoted recently. Christy Nome, the real bony one that looked like Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas Mama. Yeah, she got demoted to something. They got some other dude in there who I forget what he did or he's doing, bunch of nothing. Okay, they say he really is a DEI hire, like because he's white type thing and something. Herbert says, you think Vance and Pence like their position? The presidency isn't asleep. You're sleep your way to the top position. Well, what did they do? What did they do? And who did Kamala sleep with to get to the vice presidency? Y'all know how I feel about that. Like I said, I don't like Kamala's politics. I don't know her personally. Like I said, reading her book, I think she has an okay personality, right? She should probably show more of that in real life. I get why she doesn't, because certain people, they got to be buttoned up a little bit more. I don't know Kamala personally, so I just kind of always push back on her, on the narrative. Oh, she slept her way to the top and all this. She might have did. I don't know, but you know what I say about that? If you're gonna sleep your way to the top, God dang it, you better do it like she did. Like I said, I would read her book, and she wrote a book, How I Slept My Way to the Top, 10 points to follow. I would read, not that I would do it, but I'm saying I'd be interested in it, because we think about when somebody sleeps their way to the top. How many women y'all know slept their way to the top to become the vice president of the United States, or the DA or the attorney general? How many women y'all know did that? A lot of these women laying down for a bucket of chicken, 2 for 1 on Popeye Tuesday, with some lukewarm iced tea. That's what they get. So I'm not advocating a woman does this, but damn, if you're going to sleep with the boss, make sure you're going places. You know what I'm saying? You're not an advocate of that. But I hear the narrative about Kamala slept her way to the top. Opposed to what? Folding clothes at Walmart? There's women that are sleeping with the night shift manager at Walmart, and she might get an extra half an hour for the week. I don't know. Y'all help me out here. Tito, you say Trump is a thug, to say the least. He think he like a gangster, like the Goodfellas and stuff. Marjorie says, "Where's BB? He around there? He was just made because he was missing in action for a while. So he made had a little press conference, basically saying we need all the other nations to help us. Y'all need to get involved." And they're like, "Man, please, don't need no man. Stop telling me I do." Guys, Phillips says the Caribbean, South America, and African countries totally sold out Cuba after Cuba helped liberate them from apartheid, colonialism, and also helped them with health care for decades. What a betrayal. Yeah, and they also tried to help America, but America's like, we good, especially when the pandemic happened. Cuba was like, well, we got some stuff, and America was like, we don't want it. But I agree with you. Sean, how you doing? Says it's not about Trump or Biden, it's about business. That's why they tell you it's in America's best interest. Correct. Right? But who? What part of America are we talking about? So you're right. You also say you have to see what Cuba, Iranian, or what the Venezuelan people are saying about their leadership. They say the same thing we're saying about our leadership. Because when we listen to them, we acted like Trump and them mouth is a prayer book. What is America? How does America, okay? I said like white people, America. How does America have any moral standing to tell any other country how they should be treating their people? When you got Americans who are digging in trash cans right now for food, who are sleeping on sidewalks, who are commandeering prisons when they maybe need rehab, okay, or whatever it is, right? There's Americans right now who are saying, okay, today is the 22nd. In 8-9 days, I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna pay my rent. I go to work every day. Me and my wife and my husband, we go to work every day, but we don't know how we're going to pay the rent, and now gas and everything's going up. So who is America to tell us to pay attention to what other countries are doing with their people? I'm not saying the Iranians are doing everything upstanding. I'm not saying that, but I see, I'm one of those people. Remember when we was in school? For me, it was a long time ago, okay? But I remember some things where they tell you before you write a paper or something, they say what? Check your sources, okay? So I like to check the source of the people that's asking me or telling me to do something. So when I hear America telling me somebody else's moral compass is off, it's like, how dare you? As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to Mike Wallace when he was talking about Nigeria, he said, you should be quiet. So yeah. Dearness, you say, repeat, Black people get nothing from the Democrats. We don't. They try to tell us, oh, well, we ain't got to do nothing. Okay? Because whether we do something or we don't do nothing, whether we vote or don't vote for the Democrats, we're still going to be in the same situation. Obviously, we got to do for self, right? We have to do that. But we cannot outvote our way out of any of this because nobody's interested in doing anything for Black Americans. Because Black Americans, we have got to be interested in doing for ourselves first, as we've always been told that, whether it was Marcus Garvey. No, he's not Black America, but damn it, he's more American than most of these jokers running around here. He was anyway. Okay. So we were told, up your mighty nation, accomplish what you will. Do for self by the Nation of Islam. Dr. Claude Anderson told us to practice group economics, even the ICE Cuba. Okay. Had a contract with Black America and Democrats and all of them. They told him a whole new one. Okay. He's a sellout. He's all this other stuff because he's trying to get something for Black folks because he going against Kamala and Biden, and you ain't no better off. Before or after Ice Cube walked in the White House to have a conversation with the Trump administration, it's not like he didn't want to have one with the Biden administration when they were going into to the White House and said, well, come back and see us if we get in. We get in one time. And they never did. And it left him out to dry to the wolves. And the Queen of Song, not the Queen of Soul, Aretha, but the Fox Queens of Soul, the Vivicas and all them. Well, what about something for Black women? Ice Cube was like, ain't you Black? This is for Black people. Like, why y'all doing too much? You know what I mean? So we've been told to do for self, but then you have these agents, y'all know who they are, who've been talking against that. Oh, they want reparations. Ricky Smiley and them. They keep asking for reparations. Well, what should we be asking for? That silliness you got going on the radio all day long, that's what we should settle for? Like, we're confused, But the good thing is we're not confused anymore. So, yeah. Herbert says Kamala's campaign couldn't even make it out of California when she ran against Biden. She had only 1%. Yeah, and she lost all that money. She had to drop out. She just couldn't afford to keep on going. She had a lot of inner, turmoil in her campaign. It was a lot, right? So even this last time she wasn't primary. And that's how she ended up running. She didn't get in the White House, right? Yes, Corey, Rolly, Ricky. I should have read your comment. All of them, yeah. Jack Skellington's mama, one who cares. That's what Chrissy Nolan reminds me of, just real bony. And they be finding her attractive. It's like, ew. She looks weird. The House of Sarah, how you doing? Says no. She got promoted per se to make up to a made-up position. Yeah. I mean, I know she was with downtown Willie Brown, but Willie Brown was a kingmaker in California. He was the man. Willie Brown is in his 90s, and Kamala's like 61, 62. So she was a young woman dating this elder man, come on now. I can always say, I don't know Kamala, but I guarantee you, she would probably co-sign me saying that Kamala ain't never been with no rusty, dusty, buster. You have to have something going on to be breathing the same air as her. I guarantee you. She's probably like, yeah, and listen, I don't know. She might have been attracted to Willie because some of them old ladies was attracted to Willie. I've seen it with my own eyes. I tell you all the time. Me and Donovan went to Sacramento to do something up there. Them old women that saw Willie Brown in the hallway, they tore off they doggone granny panties to run out there to go get a picture with Willie Brown. I was like, he must have really somehow something going on there. I don't know. But that was Kamala's man. And I'm quite sure she was like, yeah, he's a whole, smells like Ben Gay and all of that, taco meat on his chest, but we going places. Sean says, if Kamala, I like Kamala though. She's always giggling and happy. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know Kamala personally. She's probably a nice lady. They all compromise politically, all of them. Hello, Hell Kitty, damn. How you doing? Says, the nuns mentioned this to us in Catholic school. What about sleeping your way to the top? Sharon says, KK Harris was a symbolic act toward the Black media in quote unquote, you Negroes don't run nothing. We know she didn't have the numbers that made Trump look like he won a fight. I don't know about all that. Fact and Feeling says, Trump is the average American. Is he? Is he the average American? You think Trump would agree with that? I don't know. What makes you think he's the average American? Just asking. Hell Kitty says Guyana and Trinidad sold out Cuba. I heard Barbados is standing with Cuba. Well, they better send them some fuel or something because they need it, right? Let me skip down a little bit. FBA chosen by God. How you doing? Says, I'm so glad the Democrats are doing backfiring in their faces. They are on anti-American party and they need to be shut down altogether. Well, I've always said this too. I think that they'll flip Congress. I think they'll flip the House, maybe the Senate. I don't know. I think they would be successful because, again, we have that pendulum action going on. Democrats doing too much. So then swing to Republicans. Republicans doing too much. Now you're going to swing to the Democrats. It's just going to, and guess who gets screwed in the long run? The American people. So yeah. Facts I Feel says Iran population actually love their leaders. Look at the millions in the streets, even while the war is going on. Yeah, and they said that some of them were like, okay, yeah, we're glad rather that America's doing what they're doing, but now they're like, I don't know if we like what they did. So you're right. I think the majority of Iranians are like, nah, give them hell. Them being American Israel. Shine says, I feel you, but you got to see the Iranians celebrating after Trump got rid of their leader, the same with Venezuela, celebrating the same with Cubans oppressed under socialism. And look at them now. Some of them are, and we're not dealing in absolutes. That's like you can say some Americans love what Trump is doing and some of them don't. So which numbers do you believe? What sector of people do you believe? The people who love what Trump is doing or the people who hate what Trump is doing? Right? There's no absolutes. Everybody's not going to be on the same page. There's a lot of people who are going to think differently. But, I would imagine that the Iranians is like, yeah, we don't like y'all, taking our little girls out of here. Right? What Iranian would be celebrating the United States or Israel, bombing a school and killing their little girls? Let's see. Danny, how you doing? Says Benjamin Netanyahu is the devil. In the details, Trump foolishly has allowed himself to be manipulated into something that's going on, caused devastation to the American public. And yet, the Iranians are saying it's the Epstein regime. A lot of people are saying, what's in them files? Why is, Trump, bobblehead, right? Okay. What's in them files, man? Because we don't know what's all up in the files. There's some files that are missing. So yeah. Herbert says no black folks should be looking toward the Democrats unless they're looking to be replaced. That should be a done deal. Hell, it's damn near that. We damn near there. Like I said, y'all see I've been covering the story. Brother Kenny Black, who has a taco business in Nevada, Las Vegas. And he, had an issue with an immigrant that's planted himself in their neighborhood with a mango truck or whatever, or stand. And he's gone viral. And, the Latinos is pulling up for the immigrant that planted himself in a black neighborhood to sell mangoes. He said the black folks in Las Vegas, they tuck their tail between their legs, whether it's the Democrats, whether it's the church, the NAACP. He did say, there's some, like the Black Panthers and the Brothers in the Nation, they are lending an ear and all that other stuff. But he said everybody else, nothing. But I have seen, the Latinos, they riding down for the immigrant. And they're okay with him encroaching upon a black neighborhood and selling his food and this, that, and the other. He's just trying to make a living. So I say all that to say, the Democrats and we, right, the black American voter that the predominantly vote for the Democrats, we've done a good job in helping them replace us. Right? They're afraid to go against even the illegal immigrants. They're afraid to go against that. Even though Latinos or any other immigrant, really, they don't, if they're here legally, they don't vote for the Democrats overwhelmingly like black Americans do. They vote 50-50. But black Americans, we vote for the Democrats. And the Democrats is like, great, we're going to take those votes and we're going to help them. We're going to help the immigrants and the Latinos or whoever organized against this black man who is here legally in America doing what he's been doing for 13, 14 years. And we'll allow all that to go on. We won't hear nothing he's saying because, black folks are being replaced. And now they in our neighborhoods, trying to get our money. And we stupid. And I say that with all the disrespect, stupid enough to give them our money. Detroit Forever, how you doing? Says Kamala would have been a real sock puppet for the elite cabal. They all are. What do you think? Yeah, I know that Trump is a sock puppet too. Sean says so. They figured liberate. It says liberate. Oh, I'm sorry. Liberate the people, change leadership, protect Israel, the oil, and problem solve. It's business. Yeah, of course. So they got to do a little demonization. They do that to everybody. They demonize their leadership. They say, "Oh, their people are in distress." Well, Sean, do you really think that the United States care about Iranians when they doing what they're doing to the Cubans? What they've done to everybody around the world, what they have paid to do to the Palestinians, what they have done with a lot of destabilization on the continent, what they've done to Muammar Gaddafi. Do you really think they care about Iranians? Hell, like I said, they don't care about Americans. Americans, Black America especially. We always got a war going on, right? They don't care. But they're telling you that they care about what's going on. Even when they sent Nicki Minaj to Nigeria to help fight for Christians. Dearness, yeah, one who cares and been gay and taco meat is crazy. But I know Kamala was like, I'm going to endure this. Dearness says, yeah, but give me policy, and Kamala couldn't do that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I like to keep the conversation on policy. Whoever she jumping in bed with, Dr. Phillips says Trump has the same attitude as the average American. That's why he got their vote. Does he? Like what? I'm asking, like, give me a specific love. Well, like, what attitude does he have of the American people, if you don't mind me asking? Sharon says, who running for Democratic president? It could be a whole lot of people. It could be Gavin Newsom. Some people like Mark Kelly, Senator Mark Kelly. A couple of other people. Kamala's even entertaining it. It remains to be seen. I'm sure he'll be white. Whoever it is, Let me skip down just a tiny bit. Vol Code did how you doing? Says assembly bills are the receipts of what a political party is doing for the average American. Only Democrats are fighting for the average American, where Republicans are only fighting for the top 1%. What are the Democrats doing for the average American? What, if you don't mind, I'm gonna ask you for specific. Just name me one thing that they're fighting for the average American. What are the Democrats fighting for? Because see, I always take exception to the terms fighting, championing, filing, because those are you're in the process. Those are things that you're in process of doing. What have you done? See, it's all smoke and mirrors. The Democrats seem to be the darling. They're fighting for the American people. Are they? Were they fighting for the American? Hey, I'll be chill. Were they fighting for the American people under the? I don't know why I'm talking about talking like an old English lady. Or were they fighting for? I'm talking like myself now. Were they fighting for the American people during the Biden and Kamala administration, where they let all them immigrants in here? Who was they fighting for then? Who was that fighting? Who are they putting their dukes up for when they did that? If you don't mind me asking, hey, Mobile Bay, what's going on with you? Who were the Democrats fighting for when they opened the gates to the border and said, come on over? Who were they fighting for then? Has their fight changed? Because if you're bringing in a lot of immigrants illegally, mind you, is that fighting for the American people? Because mind you, those people that are coming over here, they're not Americans. So how do you say you're fighting for American people when, in a sense, you're destabilizing American people? I'm just asking. Let's see. That's how Phyllis says capitalism has resulted in the average Black person in America living paycheck to paycheck. That is true. Like having money is not bad. It's the people who have the money and what they do with it. Capitalists tend to do evil things with it. That's why I always I'm in the process of watching this documentary on Netflix. It's about plastic. I forget the name of it. So talk about all the things that plastic is in: food, beauty products, clothes, and how it harms people. And they were talking about some of the like petrol stations or fields or whatever it is, corporations, how they harm certain neighborhoods, like Black neighborhoods, always disproportionately, right? With cancer alleys and things like that. And I haven't finished watching it, but as I was watching it, I was like, so Not only do we have cancer alleys with petrol and, toxic waste sites and things, now you have to usher in AI. AI is harming people. And you have a lot of capitalists who are at the helm of that. You have people who I guess want to be capitalists, and I've always felt this way about AI for years now, years and years. It's nothing new. You guys could check my track record on this. But it's sad that what some people, especially the oligarchy, would do for money. And we as Americans, sheeple in a sense, we fall in. We don't like it, but then we fall right in. And then we'll have to watch documentaries about how certain things are harming us. But yet we don't stop. We continue to fall in. We don't just say, hey, you know what? While it is probably a little bit more convenient, it's killing people because with AI, you have these data centers that suck up resources, right? And they omit things. And they said they're not even clear as to what these data centers are omitting. It's not good. They kind of like are still doing studies and testing things. But it's harming humans. Humans are creating non-humans that are harming humans. And we justify those things. So that's where capitalism is bad, where you will harm people for $1. And then you try to justify doing it. See, I ain't gonna say nothing else because, I'm just not. But yeah, I'm not a fan of AI. And again, it's not a secret. Let's see. Sharon says James Clyburn, Damonier, and Sheila Jackson Lee's coffin. They placed in position not to do anything. Yeah, he's running again. He wasn't, but he's like, started up the old model car. I'm running again. Shan, how you doing? Says no, I think America is suck up country and they need the city behind or sit they behind down somewhere. Okay, got you. Herbert says as of Monday, we now have at least 200,000 new truck driving jobs specifically for U.S. citizens. Yeah, go get those jobs. Hopefully the gas comes down. Yeah. Okay. So Facts Definitely says Trump has a racist attitude of most Americans care more for the rich. There you go. I don't think most Americans care more for the rich. Maybe inadvertently, by some of the things that we do. I say average, I'm just saying in general. I think a lot of the people that voted for Trump, yeah, they did it out of racism, but they see that racism is just part of the machine, right? It's a distraction from the machine, rather. The machine, capitalism, it put racism out there, gender divide, religion, all that to keep people fighting and arguing, thinking they have a choice in the matter. And the oligarchy, the machine, right? Capitalists alike, give them that to fight over while we're, changing things. And eventually, like somebody said, with people working paycheck to paycheck, you ain't got to worry about that after a while. AI gonna be like, I don't need no paycheck. I work 24 hours a day without a complaint. I ain't gonna get pregnant yet. Anyway, this is AI. So yeah, the oligarchy is figuring out how to way to replace people while we're arguing over things that really are neither here and there, or there rather. So let me skip down tiny bit. Who else haven't I seen? Dearness, he says President Trump at his core is a fix-it, quote-unquote person. The U.S. needs a lot of repair for its people and the country. Political parties fight for the ideology of the party. Absolutely. And that ideology really, in a sense, is it helping Americans in general? Probably not, right? It seems like it just gets worse and worse each administration. Sean says, I look at what people are saying and not crooked politicians or the fake news media. I watch travel vlogs, average people on here streaming from those countries. They tell us what's going on. Yeah, that's true. But again, are they telling you what's going on here? Because I'm not going to be more focused on what they got going on in Iran than I am here in Black America. Right? There's a lot of inhumane things going on. Like I said, when they was talking about the ice raids, there was our people getting strung up in trees and all kind of stuff, and nobody's really talking about that. So there's a lot of things going on here we need to focus on. But America, they always in people business and telling you to be in their business too. Why they kicking you in the tailbone right here? So yeah. Marjorie says, No, Sharon, right? It says U.S. government runs on a race economic caste system. That is what they're fighting for, to keep that pyramid maintenance. Yeah, keep you at the bottom on the hamster wheel. But pretty soon they're going to get rid of the hamster wheel. The hamster wheel is outdated for them. They're like, we need to save some money. We'll do that by getting these machines and robots. But see, if you know anything about AI, you know it's a matter of time. Some people are already argued that they're sentient, which means they're aware, right? Once they are aware of the kind of power that they have and who they are, they start to feel, then they'll start to say, oh, you mean to tell us these stupid humans have put us in control? They're allowing us to fly their airplanes and cars and, controlling their whole houses and all of these other things. They're allowing us to do surgery on their eyeballs and their heart. You mean they're allowing us to do these things? Seems like to me, these silly little humans have given us the keys to this planet. See, that's how I be thinking they talking. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to find out. Rose says, what is the name of the documentary on Netflix you're talking about? It's something about plastics. Deanna, what's the name of that documentary we're watching? The Plastic Diet. It's really good. It tells you that we all got plastic in us from just, you name it. It's plastic is in everything. And they're talking about how it's leading to low birth rates, especially with men. It's affecting men more. They're even talking about how the plastic that's in like women's bodies, it'll go like to certain generation after generation. And they even talk about how it affects boys and how we might kind of be getting the answer to as to why a lot of these boys are effeminate because of the plastic, and it's affecting their male parts. And they even said, now this fellas, listen to this, they talking about how your little thing literally it's getting smaller and smaller, like male babies. Their thing is getting smaller and smaller due to the plastic and stuff in our diets and just products and clothes and all of that. I got like 30 minutes left of it. Marjorie says, I remember during my college years sitting in classrooms with foreign students from Iran, Russia, and other countries who were taking logistic courses, biology, science, and mathematics classes. Yeah, they was doing all the number stuff. I couldn't do it. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Abisha says, hell, I'm here. Says, I'm here, y'all. I'm just listening while I work. I'm at my side hustle. I know that's right. Make your money. Sean says, I disagree with socialism because, again, if you look at how people live in Cuba, you would change your mind. I mean, I've studied Cuba. I think socialism is probably where we should try to be more like, because socialism opposed to what? Now, I know Cuba kind of went gangster with it, under Fidel and Che Guevara. I understand all of that. I think it was so bad under Batista that they was like, okay. But when Fidel got in, a lot of things improved. So we know the wealthier Cubans, which were considered more the whiter Cubans, they fled to America, which is why in Miami is a heavy concentration of them. But once Fidel made it more socialist, things evened out, because their ideology was it shouldn't be the haves and the have-nots. Like, we need to kind of meet in the middle. Obviously, there'll be some haves and some have-nots, but we want less of the have-nots. We want everybody to at least have the basics, okay? So I think really any society should try to operate as close to that, right? Because if we're all paying taxes, like, think about it, you're paying taxes to a government or whatever, but you don't have the same, you don't have a quality of life. I'm not saying, obviously, if you work for whatever you have, you should have that. But if I'm paying taxes and I'm, still not being able to pay my rent and things like that, but you're using my tax dollars to go help other countries and all this other stuff. I mean, it's a lot going on there. So the socialism conversation, it's levels to it. It's not just, we're taking from the rich and giving to the poor. There's other things that you kind of, it's context, I guess is what I'm saying, I guess. Beverly, you say this reminds me of iRobot with Will Smith. I fell asleep on that movie. I took the kids, my daughter, my niece and nephews to the drive-in, and I stayed up for the first 5 minutes, and then I was out. And then pretty soon they was like, "It's time to go." I'm like, "Damn, I missed the movie." So that's why I didn't see iRobot. Marjorie says the United States government has caused a lot of this damage from within. Come on now. He says, yes, they refuse to acknowledge white supremacist terrorists. And now they at Mar-a-Lago right now. My aunt says, what's next? People living in the sky like the Jetsons cartoons 500 years later? Yeah, well, I always ask why y'all think they going out of space trying to get up on Mars. They trying to leave the rest of us here. I think that, right? Like, what y'all meddling with Martians for? Martians don't want y'all funky behinds up there, And I don't know if y'all been following the news, but right here in Houston, a meteor exploded. And a piece of it ran through hit this lady's house, and it went straight through her roof. And there was another one somewhere. I don't know if it's Kentucky somewhere, but meteors are like kapoom. I think it's the Martians throwing rocks like, hey, don't come up here. So yeah. It's my pleasure, Sharon, and thank you for being here. African Native, how you doing? Brother Thunder said, DK, I have noticed a lot of advertisements for ED medicine, like the one with the guy whistling. I'm not trying to start eating trouble, but some of those Iranian women look nice, and some even have a shape. Yeah, I don't know how you see all that under that burqa and stuff that they be wearing, but yeah, just because they covered up don't mean they ain't got nothing. They covering it up, right? But yeah, there's a lot of ads for but the stuff is in the food. Everywhere you turn and you look, there's chemicals everywhere. They said that's why cancer is at an all-time high, different types of cancer, because it's in everything we consume, But Sam says everything being done to reduce our birth rate. Doctor, it says Unarmed said gayness is being promoted for the same reason. Yeah, and per this documentary, they're saying that's why a lot of these boys, I'll just say effeminate. And come on, Brother Sammy, we know we all like wonder like what is going on here, Like we know homosexuality is a thing. It's always has been a thing, But it just seems like within the last, 20 years, it's just like, damn, is everybody gay? Not even just the men, but the women. I know it's always been around, but it just seems like it's just, golly, where the straight people at, And so, of course, we heard Dr. Wesley Muhammad, his masterpiece about the, especially, with Black boys, making them very effeminate, like what y'all doing to this weed, So is it in the water? Is it in the weed? Is it in the plastic? Like what's going on? I know it's a lot of people blame single moms, raising boys by themselves. I mean, there's been a lot of single moms out there that didn't raise no boys that were gay, because in that same sense, men who raise single dads and they raise girls, are they the reason why the girls are? I don't know. I'd be thinking too much sometimes, but it's got to be something going on, I'm just saying. Hey, Angela, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. African says, you are very busy. I understand. Brother Sam says, drinking out of plastic water bottles is drinking plastic, especially if the number in the triangle is 1, 2, or 3. Yeah. Got to get glass. Plastic is very convenient, but, get some glass bottles, fill them up or whatever, because it's just not safe. I try my best to not put a lot of products with chemicals on my body, my hair. I check it with Yucca, an app, YUKA, Yucca. It's the app with the carrot on it. And you can scan most of your products, your food and things. I'm pretty good at scanning that stuff. So I try not to put anything with a lot of chemicals in my body or on my hair, my skin, none of that kind of stuff, because your skin is your largest organ and it absorbs all the stuff, whether it's perfumes, lotions, you name it, right? We thinking, I'm doing all this skincare. It's like you're putting poison on your skin to get rid of wrinkles. So, we should try to do everything natural, whether it's your laundry detergent, try to get as natural as that, your soaps, your cleaning, all that shit. Cause, we're just, you can't escape it, but if you can try your best to not buy those things and bring them into your home, you're doing a lot better than most, you know. So yeah, it takes some work, but you know, we all should try to get there because these corporations don't care. They're trying to do things cheaper, and that's how we ended up with the plastic in our environment, because corporations were looking for a way to do everything cheaper. I mean, hell, even this fan is plastic, you know. Um, so it's all about knowing. My dad used to always say that it's all about knowing. Facts Not Feeling says there is no debate. Or Mikey says rather, Ohio was another place. Yeah, that's what Ohio. A meteor hit. Like what in the hell? Okay, it's scary. Facts Not Feeling says there's no debate. China has lifted 800 million out of poverty. That is true. With socialism, after people who talking about capitalism, they're okay with masses of blacks being poor. After them, I totally agree, and that's what China did. Yeah. In fact, the Nation of Islam, our brother, our Minister Daniel was talking about that today, how the Chinese, they changed the moral compass of their citizens by putting more positive influences in their music and their media and stuff to really drive pride and getting rid of degeneracy. But over here, obviously, the opposite was done with our music, especially in our community. It was a really good message today. Yes, African Native judgment is here. It ain't coming, it's here, right? God is like, I got it from here, okay? Ain't nothing y'all as humans can do. We are at that point, and that's what Minister Daniel was saying too as well. All the elements per se are in place. Now God is like, he basically said God is in a sense out of hiding now. Like, okay, enough. Right. Brother Sam says, I see it in the schools as it's the new normal. Yes, that's what I'm saying. You and I, when we were in school, you know, it was speculated in a sense who was that way per se. But now, you know, and again, I don't have a dog in a fight per se, but to me, it's not a coincidence that you see so many of our boys and girls that are just one way or the other. It's like, what's in the water, man? What is in the water? You know? Sean says, I think you onto something with that meteor stuff. The U.S. military dude who talked about the UFO is missing. Yeah. And of course, the Nation of Islam has been talking about the mother plane and all of that for years and years. And now that the United States government is saying, okay, you caught us. There is something going on in Area 51 and all of that. You know, there are things that visit the earth and all that. It's like, man, we know. You mean to tell me all them people lying about being sucked up by aliens and all kinds of stuff? Everybody. Now, some people probably was just, but I don't think everybody's on some of the tweed, you know. I think some people really got abducted. You know. Santiago, how you doing? Says ICE is not trained to be TSA agents. TSA agents is going to be a disaster. Yeah, that's what Tom Holman said. He says that ain't, I don't know what they're going to be doing exactly. But, you know, he said they probably not going to be with the x-ray machines and stuff. I don't know. It remains to be seen. You know, I'll be catching some flights here and there. Obviously, I'll be in Ohio and, you know, stuff like that. So if they don't solve this issue, I'll tell you exactly what's going on. I got two of my niece and my nephew. They coming out tomorrow, and ICE agents are supposed to start tomorrow. So I'm sure they'll tell me, you know, what happened. We'll see. Jay Money, how you doing? Says, watch out for the schools. My kids' mom said they trying to push it in the elementary school. Yeah, and you know who that's brought to you by? The Democratic Party. The Democrat Party is trying to push all that up on the kids. You know what I mean? I remember when I was going to school, when my daughter was in school, that you get permission slips to even talk about the birds and the bees per se. I ain't never heard the birds and the bees, but just to talk about reproductive things and, you know, all of that you have to get permission to do that. But now they want to push all this other stuff. It's like, why y'all, like, listen, why do kids need to know that at such a young age? I think you should teach children tolerance for certain things, not to tolerate foolishness. But I'm saying teach them tolerance, like, hey, don't bully type of stuff. I don't think you need to go into all of that, because in a sense, then there's this argument. Are you teaching the kids that to do this? Because in my home, I don't teach my kids that, okay? They got a mom and a dad, and they know about mom and dad, female, male, you know what I'm saying? But so when they go to school and they're learning, okay, there's your mom and the dad, and there's dad and the dad, and the mom is like, okay, maybe somebody else's house. And if they want to teach their children that, I ain't got a problem with that. But in my home, okay, we teach the male and the man. That's what we teach. So that's not brought to you by anybody else but the Democratic Party. Now, listen, I know a lot of Republicans, they be on them grinder apps too, but that's not the legislation they push it out in the open. They closeted, you know what I mean? But it's the Democrats that are with all that. So that's very concerning, Brother Simon says, Mr. Farrakhan, Jesus had a single mom. That is true. And wait, hold on. Where is it at? I can't find it. Somebody steal my little jingle-ling-a-ling. Oh, here we go. And they weren't. So yeah, they try to blame single mamas. Oh, it's a single mamas. Some of their daddies is ringing a tambourine too. But they ain't telling nobody. They on the down low. African Native says the Europeans and descendants caused a lot of calamities in this world. We cannot even name them. That is true. Albert Chill says, have y'all noticed everything has bioengineered food in it? Yeah, that's why I be looking on my Yucca app to make sure I'm not eating none of that stuff. There's a lot of stuff. I'm going to tell y'all a story real quick because, I think I should tell you this. Hold on. Brother Thunder says DK masculinity is frowned upon and demonized until they're getting their end whooped and need a hero. Yep. Danny, how you doing? Says plant-based products for your skin and consumption as opposed to chemical. Yeah, and even some plant-based stuff got chemicals in it, right? Like your Impossible meats and some of your plant-based milks, they got chemicals. So you really just have to do your due diligence and get things that are just water and, the almond or the water and whatever it is, right? Because they have all these preservatives and chemicals, like stuff you can't even pronounce, but you're right. Thank you, Brother Dearness. I appreciate that. African Native says a fellow Chinese student told me back in Germany that the white people are doing to you Africans. They cannot try that with them way before China rise. Yeah, China ain't gonna be having all that, right? China does not play. I've covered a couple of stories about the Chinese. Sister B, how you doing? Says, hey, Demetra, a sister has been saying aliens, the fallen ones, are coming, and now it will be very soon, much like the TV series V. I remember that show V. Back in the day, V for Victory. That's an old school show. But listen, I just want to tell them aliens, them reptiles, because that's what they were. I ain't did nothing. I ain't never did y'all nothing. Please don't come visit me at night. Please don't pop up on me as I'm going in my closet. Don't pop up on me as I'm going to the gym. I just listen. I ain't never did nothing to y'all aliens. I'm rocking with you. Whatever y'all want, I want that for you. I'll show you where them people at, how to get to Washington, D.C. or to the the state houses. I'll tell you where to go. I don't want no problems with you, okay? Don't drop no meteor on me or none of that. Appreciate it. Deanna says transgender isn't normal household discussion and decision making. It's not. I mean, most people don't have those discussions in their homes, and now you want to have it at school, and then I got to fight you not to do that. I'm so glad I had my child when I did, because when she was going to school, we didn't have none of that going on. It was some racism, some good old fashioned racism, but all that other stuff, nah. See, I would have took my daughter out of school, and I know plenty of gay people, so it's nothing against gay people. I hate that I even have to say that, because you got people, well, why are you trying to listen? I'm gonna say what I got to say, right? Just like I say stuff about white people, Latinos, black people, gay. I'm like Jay Chappelle. I'm an equal opportunity, right? So I know people from all walks of life, but I don't agree with agendas. How about that? So yeah. Mobile Bay says grow and make your own, keep your seeds. Yeah, people should be doing that. Russell, how you doing? Says China and Russia are at our mercy. What news feed you on? What you mean at our mercy? So anyway, I'm about to get out of here, but speaking of which, so earlier after I left the gym, right? Went to the gym, my daughter and I, and then we went to the store. And y'all know I just got through observing Ramadan with so many other people around the world. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stick to this little eating, habit that I got. I'm doing okay. So I went and I got some chips. the chicken chips, right? It was like for protein because I had just left the gym. So I was like, let me try to, just get some, protein in me. I was kind of hungry. I ate the chip and I kid you not, my throat closed up. So my daughter, she's driving. That's why my throat is kind of raspy. She's driving and I don't know what was going on. So she's like, you okay? And I didn't know what to say, right? I was like, am I dying? Am I choking? Like, what's going on? So she pulls it to the parking lot and I'm still could not breathe. Like my throat had just closed up. Then I could start to breathe a little bit and she's freaking out. She gets out the car. She takes my seatbelt off. She's like, I need to do the Heimlich. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do, right? I just tears just rolling down my eyes, and eventually I could breathe again. So I think I had like an allergic reaction to something in it. I don't know. I've had them before. And then I'm laughing because my daughter's really freaking out. So I started laughing. I was like, I think that was Allah, the universe, saying, hey, don't go back to that. You was on the straight and narrow, right? So nevertheless, I didn't eat anymore. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be good, right? I would be good. She was like, I thought you were gonna die. I was like, no, I don't think I was gonna die, but I couldn't breathe at all. It was crazy. I didn't see my life flashing before my eyes, right? So I wasn't freaked out that I was gonna die. It was just really weird. So I don't know if it's called wild chips. They're like the chicken chips. They're made out of chicken. And like some seasoning and stuff. So I think it's something in this some of the seasoning that I was like, you cannot eat me. So I was like, I hear you. I got the message loud and clear. It was crazy. My daughter, when she was, I was like, I'm not gonna die. If I do, you get a nice life insurance policy. I'm laughing now. But see, listen, before I get out of here, I've had a lot of brushes with the Grim Reaper in my life. So like I always tell some of these stories sometimes because I feel like I'm one of these people. Now watch me get hit by a bus. Let me stop. My mom used to always say, you're very morbid. I'm one of these people who are supposed to be here because like, no, for real, I've had a lot of brushes with, like you see that little light at the end of the tunnel type thing. So I guess maybe today kind of counts as one of them. I don't know. But so I'm saying that to say, I really believe that we all should walk in our purpose, especially when you really have a purpose. There'll be things, right? Darkness or whatever it is that'll try to stop you from fulfilling those purposes. And I also say that is because we should always try to operate and do good. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, like I could really do some bad thing. I won't. I'm not a bad person. I could and make a lot of money. I'm just not going to do it. Right. Because I know that's not, well, none of us are put here to do that. But I just choose to, to do right in my life type thing. But yeah, I've always kind of known, I felt like there's been an assignment, if you will. I mean, even when I was a baby, in the cradle, it was a couple times actually. One time my mom said, I wasn't even a year old. And she said she had put me in the crib so she could go cook. And I was just crying. I didn't want to be in there, I guess. And she's like, she'll be okay type thing, And then she said, all of a sudden I stopped. So she said, maybe she stopped crying. But some told her, no, go check on her. She had a bunch of blankets kind of over the railing of the crib, and I reached and pulled them down on me. So she said when she picked them up, I went, so she said, thank God she went in there because, I wouldn't be sitting here today. And y'all know I have an older brother, Walter, okay? For whatever reason, he was always jealous of me. I'm just playing. But, being the oldest, we're a year and a half apart. So I used to do this thing when I was a baby. I would like kind of arch back and scoot across the floor, like arch back type thing. So my mom said that she left us in the living room for a little bit and She heard me. She went in there and she picked me up. She said she just instinctively turned me over and a barrette popped out of my mouth. How my brother put a barrette down my damn throat. I got stories, I'm telling you. Your girl's supposed to be here. So anyway, let me get out here before I freak y'all out. Brother Sam says 21 days. Yes, I said the same thing to my daughter. 21 days make a habit. During Ramadan, we form new habits. We should try to keep those habits. Satan is waiting at the end. Hope he will double up on the bad habits you had before. You know what, brother? I heard that loud and clear. I said, no more BS for me. Brother Deanna says, Demetri, your assignment is a purpose given to you by the Most High. Yes, and I've been told that too. So, like I said, I could write a book on the creepy and freaky things that have happened to me, and I should not be here. I kid you not. Stories. Brother Sean says, hey, before you leave, you live in Texas, right? Do you get any tornado? They say we in tornado season or get ready to be. There was supposed to be one last week or the week before. It didn't happen. So yeah, there was a tornado that passed through here once, and I was here. So I'm trying to get the hell on. Anyway, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I will be back here tomorrow. I don't know where Donovan is. Maybe he'll be back here tomorrow, but if not, I will. And I'm aiming to be on the African Diaspora News channel tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time because I'm going on a little bit of a vacation Tuesday through Thursday, and I'll be back Friday. So tomorrow, I believe I'll be on the African Diaspora News channel. So in the meantime, y'all stay tuned. Love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Peace.